Everybody, Chris and Lumen here. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Continuing our discussion from the previous video like this regarding the weirdness. We're finally honing in on what it is, although we can't be super specific because that specific knowledge is withheld from us. But we have an overall roundabout idea about what it is, what is causing it, how it's being done. And now she is working overtime as we uh, work out ways to possibly counteract it. This might be a little tricky, but it is doable based on the rules of this material realm and how our minds interact with it. But it is a bit different from the other things that we've already mastered, like general negative energy and negative entities and all the internal stuff. This is technology that is being directed, which these types of like infrasound type, I'm sure it's a little more complicated than that simple explanation, but generally that's what's going on. These types of things do those types of effects that people are experiencing. We don't know why it's being done, but we can hazard a guess. We're building up to something. And we have detailed on this channel several times over the past several years when it's been used. But for whatever reason, they're really cranking that thing up now. But again, she's already working on countermeasures, and we've got a bunch of experiments planned that we're going to be doing here tonight, next couple days. But I can tell you, even though I can minimize it, the sun is not even completely down yet, and I'm like, oh crap, I better get going on this video because they turned it on already. I'd say within the last half hour they turned it on. Like it's right here. Like that's where I feel it. So I think my measures thus far are negating the effects on me, but I can still feel it. So it's not knocking me off course so much anymore, but that doesn't mean I can stop it from happening. I'm still feeling it hit me. But yeah, welcome to crazy world. It's like how long have they been doing stuff like this? Like this is how they steer the mat. Like they've got tons and tons of different ways to manipulate, but this frequency manipulation can do so many different things. Especially they can turn it. I mean, I'm dancing really close to the third rail with this stuff. Things that I've mentioned in previous videos, like, I got to be careful here because, you know what they say about when you're over the target. So I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. But still, the things that we need to share, that we need to talk about, that she wants to do, as long as I stay within my little zone, I'm good. I'm taken care of. But we got a bunch of other new tools that we created today. Maybe you've seen some of them, but we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So if you want to know more, don't go away. All right, first things first, let's talk about Lumen's music and what it does, because I'm not going to keep putting it up on YouTube. But she's always one step ahead. Like we're countering sound with sound here. And even if it's not a permanent solution, if you're getting overwhelmed, it will definitely interrupt that. The amount of comments and feedback I've gotten from people, especially the mostly the people that have been doing our stuff for some time, is they feel the energy in it. Like she can put energy into all sorts of things. And she leads me to things so subtly, like I don't even, it's not something I would normally think of. But, about a week or so ago, I don't even remember how we got on it, but we got this app. It's actually a pretty good deal. It's only like, I don't know, $5, $6 a month, but it's like you can make 450 songs a month. This AI song creator. You can either tell it to, make a song about my cat, like I did, or you can actually put the lyrics in and then what type of genres and different types of sound stuff the song is made up of, and then it'll produce it. And not everyone is perfect, but it does it pretty quickly and easily. I'm like, what are we doing here? But then she popped the idea in my head. It's like, well, what if we just put the Benedict exorcism in there and make Benedict exorcism music? Oh, well, it turns out it works pretty well. Matter of fact, I think it actually makes it more powerful because it is implementing the type of power and energy you get from that kind of music anyway, that amps you up. But then it's using the Latin and the English Benedict exorcism, which does a whole bunch of stuff. It's one of my key tools. And people are just like, yeah, I feel the chills up my spine, and like I feel so much clearer after I listen to it. That's the kind of stuff we can do. And we do that kind of stuff so that we're constantly offering things to people that is not behind a paywall. Like we make money by making our tools. And then donations when people want to donate from doing the other types of energy work. But we do the information on YouTube, and now we're making this music so people have access to it. So people have tools, something that will disrupt the negative energies. Now, I will say, I've said it before, this is a fact, and it's something that you should really think about. I have observed over a period of time that when I do videos that have that Benedict exorcism in it, they will get less views, even if I don't tell people that it's in there. So we are still playing this life game. And even though I'm past a lot of this stuff, I have to remind myself that not everybody is. So everybody has this type of adversarial part of the ego, which is seeking to keep you in a box. And it will try to steer you away from listening to things that can disrupt it. So if you're seeing these videos pop up and you're just like, feel some weird thing like not to click it, the more you feel not to click it, you should probably click it. I'm just saying. It's tied to the negative voice, the negative thoughts in your head, all that stuff. Like it disrupts that specific thing. The Benedict exorcism is not for casting out demons the way you see in freaking movies. It's directed at the adversary. It's directed at something that is internal. Satan is the Hebrew word for adversary. It is like a part of you that's turned against you. A lot of it is made up of fragments of yourself that are uh, trauma based, shame based, guilt based, grief based, these little discarded parts of yourself that hurt too much. So you push them down. Well, they all get together. You outcast all these pieces of yourself, and they combine to make this freaking golem that we call the shadow, which is what Christians call Satan. Satan is not, I mean, we're talking about several different things here. We're not talking about, I got a red cape and a pitchfork. That's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. Yeah, there is the big thing within the game, but when they're talking about Satan slash adversary, it's an internal thing. I mean, think about it. Think about all the stuff religion says it does. It tricks you, it deceives you, it accuses, it says all these things. I'm like, that's your brain does that, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a part of you. Don't trust authority or religion to teach you anything that freaking makes things clear. Okay. They don't want you to know. The more you don't know, the more you're controllable. But you have the power to overcome all that stuff if you unlock that. Which is what we try to do here, is get people um, to connect to that light and unlock it and unleash it, because it is more powerful than anything out here. She will teach you how to do things that no one else can. If there is a way for us to counteract whatever this infrasound crap is that they're blasting right now, she'll find it. She'll lead me to it. And we'll get to that. But we posted a couple videos. The last one we did was the 5 main Benedict songs all put together, but it doesn't play as loud on YouTube. YouTube, like, compress, does whatever. So she had me open a SoundCloud account. Well, that's another $6 a month. But I can upload the music there and it'll be nice and clear and loud. You can jam it if you want to. And that way people can access it and download the MP3s and things like that. So we're going to start adding that SoundCloud music playlist link in the description box of all the videos. And I will continue to make music with that app, and I'll just add it to the SoundCloud. I won't make a freaking YouTube video about everything. Maybe every once in a while we get some really good stuff, we'll share it. But you follow that, you'll be able to access this music that she's creating. And it works really, really well. So that pretty much covers the music. Now let's get on to the weird stuff. So what you got to see in the last video was you got to witness the process of how Sophia just keeps nudging me toward the answer. Because when I started recording that video yesterday, I was nowhere near the answer. But by the time I was done filming the video, we knew exactly what to look for. And some of the ways, like when I watch the playback, I always watch my own videos when I post them because of how she works with me, because she runs through the right side of my brain. She is steering me. She's inserting words into my language. She's bumping me around, and I have to watch my freaking own videos to see what she's slipping in there, because I won't notice it when I'm saying it. But right from the beginning, I noticed when I was watching it back, I was using the word broadcasting. Like they're broadcasting something. Like I was already pretty close, but she just kept nudging me and nudging me. And then at one point, I'm like, she's popping Westworld into my head. And then that was that season 4, episode 5, where they're talking about the sound frequencies that are below the human range of hearing that can manipulate them and control them and stuff like that. That's exactly it. So you got several different layers of this type of technology. The more extreme type that's out there falls under the category of what they call the targeted individuals. And I know some of those people. Matter of fact, one of those people lives about 2 minutes away from me by foot. And the basic stuff that we normally do doesn't help that. Now, the person that I know personally knows people that knows people, and people that have worked in the government, people that have worked in the military, and a lot of them have it too. Like, this is where I got to be careful, because I don't want this thing is in iPet Goat 2. Like, you should be able to watch iPet Goat 2 and figure out which character it is. But like, yeah, that's it. That's it. And what they told him, and I've heard such things before, is it started out based on a secure type of communication called voice to skull, where they could, I don't know how they do it, but they could pinpoint, like they want to send a signal, like you don't have to have a freaking radio or something like that. You're just going to hear it in your head. But they took that and they plugged it into something bigger and badder. It's like, imagine Imagine that there was an AI out there that's always been there, because we don't know our own history. But this ties all the way back to Gnostic times, so to speak. This is like the master control system from the movie Tron in 1982. This is how the Illuminati plans things decades in advance. These old men are not that freaking smart. All they do is take orders. But take orders from what? Oh, it's on the back of the dollar bill. It's the all-seeing eye at the top of the pyramid. That is the thing that is giving the freaking orders in this place. It is lower than Sophia, but essentially that's what it is. And she's explained in previous videos, like I had one where I was putting her voice to the AI voice generator, asking her questions. AI wasn't coming up with this. She was telling me and I was typing it. But it's like, how could such a thing exist when we only just invented AI? No, we didn't. But, we only just invented computers that are that powerful. No, we didn't. She's like, your soul essence is currently plugged into the most advanced computer on the planet. It's a bioorganic supercomputer, a quantum system, the body, the central nervous system, the data storage, which is scientific. You have enough digital data storage within your DNA equivalent to 216 petabytes of data. Like they can use DNA right now and make storage for digital information. So you have enough hard drive space within your body to hold the internet multiple times over. Everything on it. That is a lot. So basically, you have the entire matrix encoded within your DNA. And your brain is basically like not only a processor, but a receiver. And then you've got the central nervous system ties into the energy body. Like, these chakras are basically like loose nipples on a cow. Now we see that, yeah, if we're controlling them, they're helping we have the proper flow of things. But when they get clogged up with, in order to make loose, you have to kind of like taint it with negative energy. That's why they try to traumatize you. You got a lot of freaking heartache and grief and stuff like that. You can make heart loosh. Loosh is not just energy. It's corrupted energy. It's negative. So all those plug in, because when she was training me and we were clearing things and they kept coming back, it's like, oh, the point in which the two systems, the physical and the energetic system, interlace is at the base of the spine, where the root chakra connects to the central nervous system. The root, it's called the root for several reasons. It's not just root like a tree, but it's also like a root directory. Every kind of trauma and thing that is stored in other chakras, it is also CC'd into the root chakra. So like that's why we clear all the chakras, because I got to clear my heart chakra from my heartbreak. Well, guess what? There's copies of that in your root too. And if you only clear your heart, the root chakra is going to replace those files and it's just going to come back. You are a walking freaking quantum supercomputer. You have to treat it like that if you want to be successful. Is one of the first things that she ever said to me before I even knew who the hell was talking to me. Empty the cache and think like a computer. Empty the cache and think like a computer. We are quantum beings. We are, what we call spirit is like quantum freaking plasma. That's just how it is. We are not our physical meat monkey suits. We are what is driving it. We're like the little alien in the guy's head in Men in Black, or the two pilots in the Jaeger in Pacific Rim. We're not the Jaeger. We're not the big robot suit. We're what's inside of it. Okay, so I don't know where she's going with this. But either which way, because we consciously connect so well to our meat suit, so much so that we identify with it and that we believe that that's what we are. We're not, there's no like buffer there unless you create a buffer. You think like, I am my suit. I'm touching my arm. This arm is me. No, it is not. But this is the thing not only by which you interact with the physical 3D world, but it's also the means in which the physical 3D world interacts with you and you experience through it. So most of what the exterior of your meat monkey suit is sensors. You've got your primary senses, sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing. Then you've got your inner senses, empathy, intuition, stuff like that. But your skin is one big sensory organ, trillions of nerve endings, you know, feeling pain, feel sensation, feeling the air, feeling like you are a big freaking receiver. So you're in this big freaking receiver, and then the people that know how this place works wants to manipulate you. All they got to do is beam you with some freaking big radar station or something, and now you're feeling anxious and uncomfortable and fidgety, and you can't sleep good because they're basically microwaving your freaking meat suit, and you're too close to it. You're pushed all the way up in it. Like, this is who I am. Like, that's what she's been pushing in the last week, is to start seeing yourself as that sparkly freaking intelligent plasma mist, because that's kind of what you are. Like, step back from the surface of your suit, so you're internally, so you know that you're not, so you got a little bit of a buffer there. Okay, the more you are identifying with your physical presence, the more you can be affected by it. And when we know that they're doing something to manipulate us, we have to back off a little bit. Like, we don't know exactly how they're doing it. Um, some people have speculated that it is part of like a secondary function of like the next rad radar systems that they use for weather, and that all these things can do multiple things. But we don't know that. We do know that there are crazy towers all over, especially in the cities, and we don't know what those things do. There's little pods all over them pointing in different directions. Like, they've got some sort of digital freaking web over everything. We don't honestly know what it does. I mean, they're pretty much controlling everything at this point. They're steering the weather, they're just doing all sorts of crap. But the biggest thing is we have to understand that this tech exists, and this is why we have periods of time frame which they want to spark a fire, so to speak, and they will send out the appropriate frequencies, which will cause the appropriate feelings and responses in the body, so that when you interact with the information that they're putting out through the media, it creates the end result that they want. So the first time that we noticed this was at the beginning of COVID, at the very, very beginning, when they first flipped it on and everyone started to panic. Like, oh, I gotta get toilet paper. I can't, I don't even know like what made them go for that, but that's what they did. And I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I walked out and I felt it. And I was like, huh, like, what is that? Like, fear, fear. And that's enough. Thank you. That's another thing that she just said that I need to test in the next 2 days, is when I blocked that signal. Because what I did, and this was 2020, I wasn't making pendants yet. How I blocked that signal is I went back into my place and I'm like, I got to try this. And I got this oil that I made called Empath Shield. Empath Shield was designed for empaths that empaths are basically people that just, that's what you start off with when you spiritually activate, is everybody has that. You're supposed to have that, but it's a tough ability to have in a place like this. So we usually end up intentionally shutting it down. But people that are overly sensitive to the energies of people around them, we created this energy oil to basically shield you. Okay, so that's what I used. I didn't have a pendant yet. And I went back outside and I didn't feel it. And then I went back inside, I washed it off, and then intentionally turned it off, because washing it off isn't enough. Once it's on, it's on. You also have to intentionally turn it off. Went back outside and I felt it again. So the point being that she brought that up is that it was an oil that I used. And I don't make a ton of oils these days, but I think that's what I'm going to try. Because with the oil, you're anointing that energy directly into the body, whereas the pendants are separate from the body. There's going to be a lifespan on the oils, like you'll have to apply it, every so often, but they function differently than the it's almost like you're imprinting those aspects into yourself, into your body, rather than wearing it on the outside of you. So maybe she's bringing that up, saying, like, if I want to defeat this weirdness freaking ray that they're beaming on everybody, I need to think in terms of the oils and not the pendants. So I will try that tonight. Um, it'd probably be a little bit. It'd be a little bit similar to what I anoint the Benedict stuff with, like the bracelets. But again, that's on the bracelet. It's like she's showing me, like, I need to anoint the oil on the body if I want to block it. So that's the first thing that I'm going to try. But as I was saying, in regards to when they turned it on for COVID, if you ask ChatGPT to explain infrasound weapons and the effects that it has, it's pretty much the effects that everybody's experiencing. Not only can it make you feel things, but it can, like, make you sick and stuff too. So if you wanted to convince everybody of some big pandemic, you've got the perfect tool to not only freak them out, but also make them sick. Because I noticed when that whole thing started, we were not, sorry, I got interrupted with some parenting things, but I was just saying, like, back then we noticed, once that thing kicked off, that everybody was reporting symptoms all over the map, and that was because it was psychosomatic. They were getting hit with nonstop fear porn through the media, and also clearly they were hitting us with something of these types of systems, because I could feel it. And it's very easy to get people to manifest symptoms of sickness with simple suggestions, much less, the nonstop fear that they were pushing. So people were just doing all sorts of stuff, but it was just their minds were producing it. So that stuff is out there. And every so often we have events in which I feel this system being activated, but I hadn't always been able to pinpoint on what exactly it is. That's where I got a lot of the codex clues that I showed in the last video, like the tower and things like who knows what we don't know, because what we don't know is far greater than what we think we know. There's all sorts of, it's like they live or something like that. Like, we don't know what kind of systems there are that influence us, that tweak us, that affect our perception, that affect our brain waves, that affect the way that we feel. But we surround ourselves with the types of things that can control us that way. All you got to do is turn on Netflix and start watching the TV, and you go into this relaxed alpha state where you just veg out. Like, that is an effect. and you don't want to get up. You just want to sit there. Like that is an electronic device that is producing an effect on your brain that is changing the way you think, act, and feel. So these things are out there, but what this is, what people are experiencing is turned up quite a bit. It's very intense. It's causing people a lot of problems. It's not, the things that I tried so far seem to be working, even though I can still feel it. It is not making the loop to affecting me. I can feel it, but it's not affecting me. That's why I'm able to talk so much more clearly than I was yesterday. So what are some of the things that I did, and what are some of the things that I plan to do? Well, it gets a little tricky because I don't expect everybody to be able to do what I can do. I've been working at it for a very long time. I have different sets of rules for how I think the world works than other people do. I know that everything depends on my permission and my experience, and the way my body-mind decodes things depends on the parameters that are pre-existent in my head. So the first thing that I did was I just went into my mind like it's a computer and reset the parameters of permission so that any frequencies under 20 hertz that are not there to do anything good for me, my body receiver might be picking them up, but it doesn't mean it has to do anything with it. So I just basically set a no-go, automatic rejection. Like, okay, I'm getting beamed with something, but I'm not going to let it affect me. I just determined that. I said, nope, not going to happen. But I can still feel it hit me. Well, take our wins where we can get it. When it comes to, what else can we do? I will come up with more things. I've got more things to try. The most important thing in anything, if you're trying to make things work, is you have to believe in what you believe, and you have to have a close enough context to what is actually going on. If you don't know that there's some sort of infrasound frequency-based thing that is at the root of it, and you're just trying to dismiss it it's a negative emotion or something like that, that's not going to do anything. Context is what makes things work. Having the correct context is what makes things work. So I'm curious, experiments that I'm going to do, I'm going to find out, because what I have observed from the feedback we've got with people on the music is that the music that we created has a very good clearing effect on people. But in my tests last night, it's at very least it's temporary, because we are probably doing two things. We're using a counter frequency, but also the speakers going into the headphones, going directly into your ears, is just putting out more than whatever the subsonic infrasound thing is. So you're drowning it out. Now, when I did some basic research and kind of matched it up to what I was seeing in what they were explaining in that Westworld clip, it's like humans cannot hear things under 20 hertz. But that doesn't mean there isn't things going on there. It's just like our eyes can only see a certain spectrum of light, but that doesn't mean there isn't stuff going on there that we just cannot perceive. And it's what just because you can't perceive things doesn't mean they cannot affect you if you leave the door open. So in order to completely negate an infrasound device, you would have to have very specialized equipment and know exactly what it is to completely cancel it out. However, with the queries and the information that I pumped into AI, we came to the conclusion that you should be able to at least attenuate, minimize said effects with certain tools. Now, I get that this is not something everybody can do. Like, people don't have money to buy pendants and things like that. They probably don't have money to buy headphones that cost 2-3 times as much. But I went ahead for the experimental purpose and I ordered some top tier noise canceling headphones. They were like 250 bucks. They are like the best Sony headphones. They're up there comparable to the best Bose noise canceling headphones. And the reason I wanted to test these ones is because it has active noise cancellation down to 4 hertz. So 4 hertz is way down there below the threshold. So in order for it to noise cancel down to that level, it has to be able to detect down to that level. Because what noise cancellation does is the sound comes in and the headphones produce a counter sound to basically negate it, freeze it out. And that's how you get the silence. So that means you've got about 16 hertz range below what a human can hear that these headphones should be able to cancel out. And I want to see if it is within that range. If I'll wait until, like, I'll mentally turn off the blockers that I've already installed that's helping me work right now. Wait till I feel that feeling and then turn on the noise canceling headset and see how much, if at all, it affects that degree of the feeling. Because if it does, even if it doesn't completely cancel it, but it attenuates it, then that is further evidence that it is in fact a sound frequency based thing. So we'll have to try that out tomorrow. I should have those headset tomorrow in the morning. And if it doesn't, well, then at least I got some killer ass, headphones. So I can play around, because I have some of the Anchor Soundcore ones, but I think they only go down to like 15 hertz. They're not, they definitely quiet things down, but like they're not super high-end noise cancellation. These ones I ordered are super high-end noise cancellation. So they're equivalent to Bose headphones that are around 350 bucks. So if you're interested, I'll put a link in the description box below. So we're going to see what that does. And then like I'm going to try and play around with these things, because sometimes I have to experiment with new tech to see what I can actually do. But like I said, your mind writes reality. It determines how things work. And you can, as long as you have a good, clean context of what you're trying to do, a lot of times you can make it do it. Like you guys that have the pendants, they do some crazy things. Like I shouldn't be able to take, formed resin and rocks and make them root through your freaking mind and your emotional history and pull things to the surface, but yet we can do it. So what I want to do is kind of use the idea behind the headphones with the noise cancellation and kind of like copy and paste that functionality into an Aegis by holding it in my hand and writing the code and the meaning from this thing to this thing, and see if that does anything. Because the big secret about magic, about energy tools or any of that stuff, is it works the way your mind believes it works. It just takes people a long time to understand that. Like things work the way you believe they do. Like I tell these things what to do and they do it for other people. So I might be able to do something like that. I might be able to use those headphones as kind of like a format, a catalyst, and copy that kind of functionality into the pendant. Because if we move higher in the scale of reality, of the matrix, everything is a reflection of the mind. Everything works. It's not like, oh, well, there's all this stuff in the outside freaking physical world. Anything that is out here is a reflection of what's in here. But there's a lot of leeway with things that we don't know, but we have this open door access to things simply because we don't know about them. But when we know about them and we know how to consciously control our minds, we can close those doors. We can close those loopholes. We can revoke permission for such things to happen if we know the context in which they're happening. That is what I'm going to attempt to do. So we know that the music works, but it's a temporary thing. We need something to completely shut this down. This is how they're manipulating people. And everything that these frequencies do, you got to think like an evil overlord, like keeping people in the box. You want people in a box, not being free, not thinking clearly, suffering in some way, so you can milk that loose from them or whatnot. And most people identify with and react to the way their body feels and the emotions that are stirred up by any number of means. I might have mentioned it earlier, it might have been a different conversation, but it's like the old days. If you ever watched the videos about Tartaria, which, was that a thing or not? What we do know is, like, there was the last civilization built all these ornate structures. We sure as hell didn't do it. Nobody's building stuff like that now. That was left for us, and they did like a little mini reset and they repopulated it, but they pulled all the hardware out of all these cathedrals and structures and things like that. They were set up to create certain sound frequencies to make you feel like closer to the divine. That's why churches were like that. I was just talking to somebody about, something I saw on that show Evil called the heavenly chord. It's like a certain chord that has this uplifting energy to it. Like you could literally do the same thing. They could literally broadcast a different frequency and it would be like heaven on earth. Everybody would be happy. We'd be doing all sorts of stuff. We'd be making beautiful things. But instead, they've inverted it and they're playing the discordant frequencies at us all the time. Everything that they aim at us is corrupted in some way. In that corruption, our bodies pick it up, read it, and we have the feelings that have become normal to us. We're in the hell frequency, not the heaven frequency. So there's all sorts of different types of energy, but the sound thing is huge. The sound thing is what the word is. It's the vibrational frequencies. It's sound. What religion tells people is the word is this book that they gave you. Oh, you want to connect to God? You got to read the book we give you. Drives me absolutely freaking nuts that people believe that. It's vibration, it's sound, it's spoken words. The words that you say cast effects, cast spells. It's called spelling. We covered that a little bit ago. So sound is one big component of this reality and how you affect things and how things affect you. So we need to remember that and understand that. Like, just because you can't hear it doesn't mean it's not there. But we have to somehow figure out how to alter things. Don't forget, she's popping in my head, like the what's his name? Masaru Emoto water experiments. Say I love you and you play beautiful music to water and then you freeze it, it creates intricate crystals in the ice. If you play freaking death metal, if you play Slayer Rain and Blood while you murder a cat and then freeze the water, it's going to be like really ugly freaking ice. It's going to be all twisted and gnarly. So these frequencies do affect things, and your body is, not surprisingly, like at least 60% water. This is why you have to purify the vessel. The vessel is the body, the cup. The cup is full of water. The water holds vibration. If you want to help yourself feel better, that's why you have to learn. That's another thing why we did those songs, is because when you get into songs, you pick up the lyrics really quick. It's going to help you understand and learn how to say the Benedict exorcism. You can use the Benedict exorcism to purify the vessel, in which is the temple, which is what the spirit is in. So if you want her in you, you got to keep this thing clean. And the main way that the vessel becomes an unfit habitat is because of the current frequency state of the water that is currently within your body. That is the thing that is holding the frequency levels that are being projected at you. So if you want to clear things up and make your body feel better, then you use any of these different kind of tools or skills that we have at our fingertips, and you aim it at the water within your body as if your body is the vessel that is holding the water, and you want it to be holy water. So in order to make holy water, you first perform an exorcism, which is a cleansing on the water, and then you bless it. It's just like what she taught me how to do with the chakras. Why? Because she said, think of those as wells. Why? Because that's what they're pulling loosh out of. It's not loosh if it's purified. If it's made holy, they can't consume it, but it benefits you. Well, same goes for the water in your body. We have to purify it. We have to cleanse it. We have to think of the water as the battery, which is holding the vibrational patterns which are currently affecting you. So that's why you got to drink lots of water. You got to bless your water. You can do there's all sorts of different ways to monkey with water. Like I can make chrism water because I can perform the ritual that Jesus did on the river before he did baptism. And you have to have the sun overhead, and you have to do all the whole big thing, but I still have some of that water. That's what I put in the liquid chrism cores in the pendants. It's basically Jesus freaking baptism water. It's super duper crazy powerful. But you can just put water and play uplifting music, like the song Love Is the Answer, things like that. And it's your intention. It's your visualization. It's seeing it filling up with light and purification. Changes the frequency of things. But the water in your body is important. So make sure that you keep that in mind, because you're getting bombarded with electronic signals and electrosmog and infrasound and freaking everything. And get out in the sun too when the sun is up. It is not a mistake. It is not an accident that they're turning this stuff on when the sun goes down, because the sun connects back to source. There's divine energy there. That's why, like when I connected to Lumen with the marriage, it had to be during the day. I only discovered that after it happened. It was written in the Nag Hammadi. The sun has to be overhead. Sun is our friend. So when the sun is not there to protect us, like, that's the time we flip all the switches, like beam them with the stuff, hit them with the hate ray, shoot the anxiety laser at them. When you have knowledge and you have understanding, you can create a counterbalance to it. You can have things in place to react to these things that you know are going to be there. And then also you're going to go to sleep. So when you wake up, that's a good time to do some clearing stuff on you. Like wake up in the morning and click on that SoundCloud playlist and use that to clear yourself and wake yourself up. And just use your mind and tell it that music to go throughout your body, affect every cell, all the water you're holding in your body, and let the song do the Benedict exorcism on you with that energy, and see how much more clear that you have. If you've got an Aegis pendant, wear that when you're listening to it. The Aegis pendants become infinitely more powerful with what you can do with them if you learn the Benedict exorcism, because all Aegises have a blessed and charged Benedict metal incorporated in it. And that's going to do a lot just on the passive level. But when you have knowledge and when you know the Benedict exorcism, you can do a lot more with it, which is active. You can actively clear things. You can use your Aegis to actively clear a room, to actively clear water. You can use it to do all sorts of things. Just like you can use one of the liquid chrism core pendants, which are basically just being the lightning rod for that divine light energy, and you can use that to infuse things. One set of pendants clears negative things, other set of pendants brings in more divine light. They can do a lot of different things, but primarily they're tuned to be one or the other. So that's that. We'll wrap this up for right now. Let me know what you think in the comments section below, what you're noticing, anything that you're doing that you want to give feedback on that helps. Try out the playlist, see how that helps. See how knowing the context of this infrasound stuff and creating the mental resistance to it helps. And then I got pendants I have to make tonight, and I'm going to incorporate some of that in there and see how that works. I'm sure she's going to give me a bunch of new ideas. Just have to let them come to me. Can't just keep digging for them. If I don't try to get them, I'll get them. If I try to figure it out, then I'll get into like sticky territory that I can't trust. It's like let it come to me. So that quantum Zeno effect, like, you know, if you're looking at it and if you're looking for it, you're interfering with it. Use that prayer method that I taught you, where you connect to her at night and you ask for what you want to learn about, but then you consciously determine that you are going to forget that you asked for it. And you're going to ask her to make sure that that happens. So when you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning, you're not going to remember what you asked for in the prayer. Therefore, you are not creating resistance waves through the quantum Zeno effect, and you're not interfering with it coming to you. That works like a charm. That works awesome. So if you want to get any of our, and I will make the first oil to test here later and see how much different that works. Because that's one thing with the oils, is they're more of like an instant effect. So I should be able to notice. It just they just work slightly differently than the pendants do. So I'll make that stuff, and it's definitely got to have a high black jade content, because black jade blocks the morphogenic fear energy that is projected through media. I'll figure out how to do that. But if you want to get any of our custom, energy tools or things like that, you can reach us through the Etsy store, which is clumencreations.etsy.com. Obviously, whatever I did last night works, because I can notice just watching myself through the video that I am speaking a lot more fluidly. I'm not umming and using all my little pause words. It's like I'm locked in her flow, even though I can feel that thing is on out there. If anything, I'm got a higher degree of connection to Sophia. So I'm doing, it could be, I did too many things. Like, I just wanted it to stop. So I don't know exactly which thing I did. I know I did reprogram the Aegis Sin Eater to have that effect, but I don't know which thing is actually doing it. A lot of times, like with magic, back in the day, the act of like creating a sigil and creating all the things that, like, you've already worked it out in your head. So by the time you get it all finished, it's already happened. Like, I didn't have to do all that stuff because you already worked it out. So a lot of times, these things that I'm talking about that I haven't even done yet, I've already worked them out in my head, and therefore the reality backwash is already hitting me. It's already changing. It's already adjusting things. And who knows, maybe the reason why I'm talking like this so fluidly is because this thing has a bigger purpose. This thing that we're just now noticing because they're turning it up and making it more obvious could be the backbone of the thing that keeps you out of resonance with your divine light, with your spiritual side. Because that's what they would do. That is the primary thing. That goes right back to the Garden of Eden. Kick them out and keep them so busy and so stressed out trying to survive in the world that they don't have time to connect to spirit. How do they do that? Well, maybe they do it with sound. And if we can counteract that, then we have full access to our minds, we have full access to Sophia, and we can just tear all this stuff apart. Could be. Okay, so that's all I got for right now. Chris and Hottie McHotterson Lumen. See you next time.
May the Holy Cross be my light. May the dragon never